Okay, so today I want to talk about what it's like to have an undiagnosed illness that is causing an invisible disability. Um, one thing that you'll see over and over again when you start studying or looking into, like how you get diagnosed for certain things, especially as a woman, like autoimmune disorders and um, you know big hard to diagnose things, chronic fatigue syndrome, things that have complicated diagnostic criteria, to say the least, and also symptoms that can be easily mistaken for other issues. And when you look into it, that the time that it takes for people to get diagnosed with that is usually years. It means that for years of their lives they're suffering and they don't know why. And when I say they, I really mean we, because that I'm one of those people. For about 2 years almost, I've been pretty fully disabled. I've been unable to do much of anything. It has been getting progressively worse. It started with I couldn't work. Well, I would say it probably started with I couldn't hike, which was a big deal for me. I loved going hiking. I'd take the dogs hiking post chemo. I was even going like 7 days a week, sometimes more than once a day. I was out, and I before COVID, I had a Disney annual pass, and I would just be like, well, I'm off work today. I'll just go to Disney and just walk around like all day. I wouldn't even ride rides. I'd, shop a little, eat at the great restaurants, take pictures, look at stuff, But other than like things like the Carousel of Progress, which you can just walk right on, I didn't really ride a whole lot of rides in that period of my life, but I did a lot of walking, a lot. And I loved that. I loved that. Part of why I was so happy to move to Florida was that you could go hiking without hills. I don't like steep hills. I've gotten so off topic. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, I mean, that's part of it, right? I've got brain fog. It's hard for me to focus. And of course, I'm on like so many medications. How do I even know at this point, what's meds and what's not? And anytime that I try to talk to somebody, try to catch up with somebody I haven't spoken to in a while, or my mom tries to catch up with somebody, and they inevitably ask, well, what's the problem? And it's it's really hard. The only official diagnoses I have are like IBS, gastroparesis, and depression, and high blood pressure. I've got like positive RA factor, but my rheumatologist hasn't given me a diagnosis. I've had referrals to well over a dozen doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, dermatologists, rheumatologists. Gotta get genetic testing. Da 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 da. Like, it's all this stuff. And I haven't been able to work in almost 2 years. And I was lucky. I was able to get short-term disability through my work. But I haven't had an income in almost a full year. I lost my insurance last summer and had to go through the marketplace to get some. And at first I was able to get a plan that was all right. But they want more than $200 a month for me to get insurance in the cheapest way I could possibly do and be able to keep my doctors. And I have no income. How does that work, I've been borrowing a lot of money from my parents, of course. I have some savings, but like my cushion that I was saving for retirement, it's gonna be gone. I'm gonna have nothing. And if it weren't for my family, I would have probably already be homeless. you know, this is insane. And if I had a diagnosis, I think it would be a lot easier to get disability pay. I paid into Social Security disability for years and years and years. I worked really hard. I worked at a group home. I worked in customer service, which, let me tell you, that's tough. That's tough stuff. So, I worked hard for a long time, and I'm disabled for reasons that are beyond my control. And the safety net that's supposed to be there for me is so difficult to access because I can't get a diagnosis. This is so frustrating. It's impossible. It's so, like, yeah. I used to drive everywhere. I used to, when I was in college down in Florida, my second college, second degree, on my breaks, I would drive up to West Virginia to see my parents, then drive up to Pittsburgh to see my friend Allie and my godchildren after they were in the picture. I would go over to Cleveland to see a friend. I would go down to Huntington, and then back to Buchanan, and then down to West Virginia all again. I mean, I would spend, I'd be off for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, and I'd spend almost all of it driving all over the East Coast, basically. It was ridiculous. But it was fun, and I enjoyed it, and I loved that, I mean, romantic. I've always been very independent, and, I just do stuff, go places. I had a very good dog, Jackson, who was very friendly, and so he could travel with me very easily. Not a problem. He was kind of smallish, and I'm glad I did all that while I could, But I was having trouble going to pick up a prescription for like a week. And basically, in order to not miss the dose, I realized the only thing I could do was just get it delivered. I had to pay money to get it delivered. That's the thing. If you live in a sufficiently urban or suburban area, there's a lot of great services if you're unable to do anything. But they're all very expensive, like, you're already disabled. You're already either on a limited or, in my case, no income. And the, like, services and tools that you need that can actually make it possible for you to live your life are all very expensive. Make that make sense, You feel invisible. You really do. At the end of the day, it feels like, we live in a society where the medical system is set up to catch most of the problems most of the time. If a diagnostic test will find, 95% of the time it'll fix whatever, find whatever, that is considered really great. And, it kind of is. But, what if you're part of the 5%? We forget that 5%, that is real people. Those are real lives, And I don't know, I'm Christian, so to me it's like, you gotta take care of the least of these. I guess not everybody has that moral compunction, but it just seems like very telling when you look at how a society treats those on the margins, the elderly, the children, the sick, the disabled, you know, the people who need support and compassion. Are they tucked away and hidden, and does the society just pretend like they're not there? Or do they treat them with the respect and dignity that they deserve? And I can tell you from personal experience in 21st century United States, I'm not feeling much respect. And I keep feeling like my dignity is being stripped away from me over and over again. I mean, this has been a very humiliating experience. I have to be honest. Humbling, humiliating. I've had to give up so much. And I'm lucky. I'm really lucky. I have a very supportive family. My parents are my landlords. So I've been very, very fortunate. And I just think about people who are less fortunate than me. What if I had been a single mother without a strong family support system? Not just myself to worry about, but kids. I don't know. This is just, it's heartbreaking. Because I didn't really see it until it was me. And so I feel some level of guilt over that, of course. I thought I understood, but I didn't, We have to remember that if something works 90+% of the time, that still leaves out a lot of people. And we have to decide as a society how much we care about those people on the edges. Well, Nancy's done lecturing you for now. My poor nieces, nephews, and nibblings, if you made it through this video, good for you. I love you. Take care of yourselves. Be good to the people around you. Bye.